Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Oh, hey, say, it's been quite a while since I did one of these comic book reviews, so I'm sorry about that. I think the last one was September 20th I posted. Been very busy. I actually took a trip for a few days. Just a lot of stuff coming together all at once. So today we're going to go ahead and talk about Maskerade. But first of all, this is episode 547. Today is October 15th, 2022, I believe. And we've got Maskerade #1 for you, coming in at a whopping $3.99 from Dark Horse. And as our cover here, it's kind of an interesting cover. And I'm not sure exactly if that's the main character. I believe it is. It's kind of hard to tell because our main character wears this mask typically, and she's actually got a scarred face underneath this mask, so I'm not quite sure if that's supposed to be her as well. Just kind of almost an abstract Picasso type look to this. This comes out from Dark Horse, if I haven't mentioned that before. It is a recommend. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it's interesting enough, has enough cues going on, that most people find it kind of intriguing, at least. Let's take a quick look to see who has worked on this. Okay, we've got written by Kevin Smith, one of our favorite comic book celebrities, or at least for some, maybe not for others. He's not my favorite. In fact, my favorite thing that he's ever done was the movie Dogma. I really enjoyed that movie. I actually bought it. Everything else by him, it's just kind of okay. With this book, he has written it with Andy McElfresh. Not familiar with him at all. The art is by John Sprangelmeyer. Colors by, it looks like, Julia Brusca. Letters by Andrew Thomas, and the standard cover is also by Mr. Sprangelmeyer as well, with some other variant comics. This actually came out about a month ago. I'm just really behind on everything. I'm not that far. I don't have that many comics to review though, but we're going to go through this. So first, you think this might be some kind of cleavage, but it's actually a rear end shot, and it's showing up on a TikTok. And what we're finding out is this particular host of this TikToks has suddenly become a viral sensation. She's got her own TV show now. So she is quite the envy of many, many people. Then we switch to this seedy-looking San Francisco. It doesn't look that seedy, though. I mean, it looks like it'd be cleaned up pretty easy. Just pick up some of this junk and move some of these people out of the way. But it's not only seedy, but Mr. Smith seems to have a love affair with the word shitty. He uses it a lot in this narrative here. As you can see here, this girl looks like she's being propositioned. Next minute, she's killing the guy and taking his money. So it's a little bit disjointed. It took a little bit of time to figure out what was going on. And the next scene, we're at this high-rise, this penthouse, and we have this girl panicking, running out, splosh, 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 and then flinging herself off the top of this penthouse, and we get our big title splash sequence, literally a splash page, as she is splashed upon the car, and it's raining, and there's splashes all over the place, and they just kind of talk about it kind of nonchalantly, like no big deal, which kind of surprises me. You'd think people would be freaking out, hurling and stuff, but now they're just kind of standing there like, oh, no big deal. We've already gone through the credits here, so moving on, we get this shot. Meanwhile, at the big TV producer studio, we got this fella here who's having an affair with the producer's wife, and she wants to do all kinds of stuff to him, and he seems kind of hesitant, but he's already done it, so at one point, she decides that she's going to give him a little bit more than he's expecting. You can see his goony-looking faces he's making. And then the producer comes in. Oh, did I skip that? No, this comes in later, I guess. And then it's got this weird flashback where I thought there was another page in here, but sorry. Where he's talking about how this one TikToker is a big sensation. She's getting her own show and everything while he's kind of struggling. And he went through college and did all these things and internships and whatnot. And his resume is quite lengthy. Now we get this picture of them just walking along the street, talking with his buddy, and they've got this sculpture of this big pink foot. I am not sure at all what that's supposed to be and why it's placed right on the street corner. It's kind of an odd place to put it as you're trying to not step into the street and get hit by a car, but I guess that's where the artist could only put it. Meanwhile, we have this other guy who's with this, I guess she's some kind of drug addict hooker or something. I'm not quite sure. It's not really specifically said. And this is where we meet I'm going to just call her Maskerade because I don't know what else to call her. But she's a badass in a specialized suit. And we'll see that she can take down this no good exploiting white guy with no problem at all. And then the hooker, or whatever you want to call her, suddenly gets up and she's strangling him from behind. And Masquerade tells her to stop. This is my job. I want you to get out of here. She gives her a gun, though, just in case there's somebody in the aisles or in the corridors that are wanting to stop her. And then we get the flashback for Masquerade coming in and basically killing everybody. So this girl's walking out. She's walking past all these dead bodies. So it's kind of cool. Meanwhile, Masquerade does her thing, her specialized thing. She's able to transfer this guy's image onto herself and kind of frame him in a way. But it also lets her walk out of there. So she becomes kind of this odd thing. It's like, what the heck's going on? Okay. So the guys that are watching the front door, they see him leave, but it's really her. And so that's how she kind of escapes, but she's able to somehow get him trapped into all these cages. And he's just the first of many. And this is the big reveal. It's a very short comic, not too long, really, of who's behind the mask of Maskerade. She pulls off her mask and transforms back to this scarred-faced woman. And he realizes who she is now. So yeah, it's not incredibly good, but I think it's interesting enough to give a recommend to. I'm not crazy about the art style in here as well. I thought it was it's got that comic book look. Coloring book look. If you can see the lines around the images are these dark lines, like you're supposed to color within the lines of everything. We get a lot of that. Not so much there, but in some of these images, it's just really a dark, thick line, which it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really look that great. So it's not perfect. The dialogue's okay. I think it's a little above average, probably, for comic books these days. And the story is interesting enough, I think, to continue. It's very short, though. I think we're already through with it here. Then we get an ad for Get Sucked Into a Good Comic Book. This is, of course, Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash comic shop somewhere. I think they're in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, New Jersey. There you go. You can see their little information there if you're interested in those dudes. I think this is actually kind of a reprieve or maybe an apology from Kevin Smith after what he did with the He-Man. I didn't watch it, but I heard there are a lot of people outraged for that show, that reboot. Okay, then we have A Rock Show to Die For Festival, written by Christopher Golden and Tim Lebron. I don't know either of those. Minor Threats. Patton Oswalt. And it looks like they're trying to make it look kind of like a 60s, 70s era drawing, but it's Patton Oswalt, so I wouldn't know what to expect with this. Minor Threats. Powerful superheroes, lethal villains, and the C-list costume crooks foolish enough to take them all on. And there's your staff working on there. Then we have Mind Management from Matt Kind. I don't know anything about this book. I do know that he has written Berserker, and that is actually very good. And this is a graphic novel. And we have The Roadie from Tim Seeley. Sorry about that. And I did like Tim Seeley's run on Vampire the Maskerade. I thought that was a pretty good story that came out a couple of years ago. This is a saga about nostalgia, heavy metal music, hell, and redemption. So there you go. You get all that coming from Dark Horse. It's almost like I'm doing a in the show, it's like I'm doing a review of previews from Diamond. Okay, the Shaolin Cowboy, Cruel to Be Kind. I don't know if this is the one that I read originally or not. If this is a trade paperback, it doesn't really say. Just available at your local comic book store. It kind of looks like what I read many years ago. And then we have Survival Street, which is looking like Sesame Street, but I guess it's a spin on that. From James Asmith. There you go. A bonkers thrill ride that proves as silly and nonsensical as its precedent and profoundly telling. Okay, that is the review on that. Survival Street, coming to a store near you. Then we get a little blurb here from Tim Seeley about The Roadie. And finally, The Ward, Life and Undeath in the ER, with Kevin Scott writing that. And you can see we got like all kinds of ghouls and whatnot, elves, I guess, trolls, dealing with the undead. And there's a minotaur looking guy too. And one last shot at Maskerade at the back. So this is the A cover. Like I said, it's a recommend. I think it's interesting enough to pursue if you're kind of into Kevin Smith at all as well. You'll probably enjoy this one. All right, that's what I got for today. Thanks for stopping by and watching this quick review of Maskerade #1. As always, please like, please subscribe if you haven't. Please leave comments if you wish, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. This is Indie Comics Jones back in action since September 20th, almost a month later. But I'm here for a while longer. You take care. I bid you adieu.